Good evening and a very warm welcome to First Issues. We live in a time where the excessive demand for land, especially in urban areas, means that the acquisition and ownership of property is no longer as accessible to the average Motswana as it was just a few decades ago. Days are long gone when even residents of the capital city, Gaborone, could be allocated 40 by 40 meter plots, the size of those you still get to see in this old suburb of village. Nowadays, you can count yourself lucky if you find a 400 square meter plot, which is just a quarter of the old normal. On top of that, that nicely sized 1,600 square meter plot of yesteryear would now cost you in excess of 1.6 million pula in the city center with absolutely nothing on it. And with all the developments that have happened in the past few years, even finding such a plot would be next to impossible. Residents of Palape, that because of its centrality and developments such as the Botswana International University of Science and Technology, or BUST, and Francistown, the country's second largest city, can probably attest to similar levels of demand. Waiting lists now run multiple decades long, and we have even witnessed stampedes of plot seekers at land boards in places such as Odi, Obakeng and Motswana. Changing times call for a change in approach. Obakeng Lempadi of OSC Property Developers constructs contemporary buildings such as Sherrywood Apartments here in Obakeng, where we currently stand, to address this new status quo. Not only do apartments such as this one allow for those who work in the city the chance to enjoy a modern lifestyle within their rental budget, it also allows for those who have been priced out of the property market the chance to own their own home. Both the first-time real estate investor looking to start small and the seasoned property owner looking to add to a growing portfolio are also offered the opportunity to venture into a space that has promising returns. Apartments tend to demand more rental pulas per square meter than a conventional house. And demand for accommodation in urban areas is consistently high. And maintenance costs for a good quality build are next to nothing. Mr. Lempadi's passion for construction birthed in him as he witnessed his parents run their own construction company when he was just a young boy, pushed him to leave a successful accounting career and take a leap of faith when he identified an opportunity within the property market 11 years ago. He shares his business philosophy with us this evening. As a property developer with more than 10 years of experience, what type of mindsets do you think Botswana have about investing in property that at times maybe stop them from getting their full returns from this type of investment?
There is already this good mindset that, with property comes wealth. It is good. But what we try and advise, or rather what we do all the time advising our clients, is that you invest in property that is going to earn you returns, in rentals. It's not every property that does that. I'll give some examples. Take a 3-bedroom house in Obakeng. You earn roughly about 5,000 pula on rentals. Yes, you've got value to the property, but the income that comes is, relatively cannot be matched to the value of the property. Take a 2-bedroom apartment. you're sitting with 4,500 a month. So if you're going to invest in property that has value and that has rental income, I would say to you, you go for an apartment. And that's what OSC serves to our market.
But is every buyer an investor, would you say? Should somebody be looking at property in this way?
Yes. Effectively, if you buy, or when you do buy, you invest. Yeah. There are not two ways of looking at it. Yes, you buy one, you still invest. You buy two, you still invest. So whatever way you look at it, it's an investment.
You should make your money work for you.
Money has to work for you.
Botswana are big believers in owning land and having a yard attached to that apartment space. Is this something you find, is this a perception maybe you find you have to address when selling your properties? Yes,
we do. In fact, I think for quite some time that has become our selling point. As you do notice, you've got that bracket of the market that doesn't qualify for much. You're talking loans of about 350,000, 600,000. With that, these days, you don't get much. So what we do say to our market is that however humble your beginnings are, you start right there. Now with property, we've come to learn, with time, the value of the property sort of like grows. And when it does, that opens up that opportunity for one to further invest. In fact, we say to our clients, start right where you are. If you've bought an apartment, say 400,000, give it five years, the value on that apartment would probably have grown close to about 600,000-700,000. If you like, you can sell it, and you have that residual additional 200,000-300,000 that you can put down as a deposit for a bigger property. Now, times have changed. It's not like in the olden days. In the olden days, it was so much easy to have access to land and, chunks of land. These days, it takes a plan. You've got to build towards it. You've got to start where you are, keep on building your property, your wealth, your value, until you can afford something with a lot of space around.
Stay with us. When we return, we continue our conversation with Mr. Lempadi on the Botswana property market.
What is the future of help? It's to help people find the great in themselves. The drive, the passion. Help them find their true potential. Help them stretch. Help them grow. That's why we help people help themselves, help the world, because a little help goes a long, long way. FNB, how can we help you?
Somebody can have a prime piece of land, but have a small little 2-bedroom building on it, hoping for one day to have the money to develop it. Can you give us some insight into the ways we can better approach property instead of the more traditional mindsets that I feel?
Encourage landowners to come through for some sort of partnership and developing land. What we have seen over years in OSC is that 900 square meters can give us roughly about 8 or so apartments. Yeah, and we've seen that over and over. 1,200 square meters can give us about 15 or so apartments, depending on design, obviously. And so times are changing, but like I said, slowly but surely.
Many of you watching tonight prefer to live in the very center of your village, city or town as opposed to the outskirts. Many of you prefer to build as opposed to buying property. And many of you want your first acquisition to be the biggest standalone house you could possibly afford. You don't consider starting off small and affordable just to get your foot in the door. And you don't consider getting a small rental property that will eventually finance that dream home and maybe several other investment properties in the long run. First-time homeowner Keletso Ramoleko tells us how she was made to see the value and assisted to purchase an apartment at OSC's Sherrywood development in Tlokweng.
A friend of mine, I saw a post on Facebook about the development that's currently happening, and Sherrywood was being developed then. So I saw it, I was like, nah, it's not what I'm looking for. It's a 2-bedroom house, it's a unit, I'm looking for a house, a yard. Because I'm moving from home, I need that security of where I can park my car. So my focus was on a 3-bedroom house, the garage and everything. So I discarded the thought and I was like, no. And then I have a friend of mine, she's a banker, and she sold me the idea. I was like, no, it's not my kind of like thing. And then she invited me to a friend of hers that has bought the previous development they have. And I liked it. Before getting in the house, just outside, the appearance, it was really appetizing, it was really interesting, and I was like, I could do this for myself. I got to see them, and then I started considering coming to the thought of, okay, maybe I can push down my budget to what I qualify for, and that's how I'm here now.
Have we given you something to think about? Are you willing to change the ways in which you currently think about property? Do let us know via our Facebook, YouTube or Twitter pages. Do stay tuned, there's more to come on First Issues.
What is the future of help? It's to help people find the great in themselves. The drive, the passion. Help them find their true potential. Help them stretch. Help them grow. That's why we help people help themselves, help the world. Because a little help goes a long, long way. FNB, how can we help you?
Despite their increasingly valuable role in the economy, SMEs remain significantly high risk. Therefore, a good plan improves your chances of securing financing, as well as your bank's ability to gauge the viability of your venture. We have learned that a great overview ensures that a potential financier reads through your proposal and of the necessary elements to show that you truly understand your market and are not working off assumptions. But what are the biggest mistakes people make when requesting for financing?
It's actually making unrealistic assumptions, not going there to unpack, to find out. Unfortunately, when it comes to demand, you need to do some bit of research. You need to go to departments and organizations that where there is collection of this data and information. You need to ask, today everything is available in Google, so you can actually Google and you can get much information, but if you go to some of the research institutions, you would actually find some of these reports as well. If you go to UB, for example, for their research department, you might find that they've conducted a lot of study that are sitting there. If you want to find out about other demands and studies as well, Leah is there. They're doing market access researches as well, so you might find a lot of information there. Botswana, the former BITC, you can actually go there. They've really done a lot of scanning of the environment. They'll always tell you what is missing and where do we need to direct your investment. So you can actually go into the relevant ministries that are really driving that particular industry. They will also have information. So it's important that you find out who these guys are in whatever sector you want to venture into, identify the key stakeholders where you can collect information, call and schedule meetings with them. That's the biggest mistake that most people do. And obviously the reality will come, because when you implement, you project that you say, for example, you open up a bakery and then you project that you are going to be producing 1,000 loaves a day, and that every household in the village would actually buy a loaf, and then we give you the money, you start up the business. You only realize that there's half the population of that village can afford a loaf of bread per day. So what do you do with the rest of the production? You have to scale out production. But then, are you able to pay off all your overheads, your employees, your machinery, your loans from that low production capacity? No, so you've locked yourself in trouble. So it's better for you to be very realistic and conservative. If you grow up from the low assumption that you had made, the better. But if you make huge assumptions and you don't achieve, then you're in trouble. And I would say that it's painful process whereby if you had pledged some of your properties and your assets as collateral, and now people have to sell, and instead of creating a millionaire, we create a destitute, because you might be left with nothing and still owe the people. So you don't have to, there's no way, you shouldn't really cut corners on this one. If there's any component you need to pay attention to, do this one, do the needful.
What is the future of help? It's to help people find the great in themselves. The drive, the passion. Help them find their true potential. Help them stretch. Help them grow. That's why we help people help themselves, help the world, because a little help goes a long, long way. FNB, how can we help you?
Welcome back to First Issues. The Botswana Stock Exchange has sought to clarify their role within the securities market in recent weeks on this program. And tonight, in this segment meant to broaden your investment horizons, they detail their potential as well as their efforts to attract both the local and international investor, creating a world-class and therefore more lucrative exchange.
One of our strategies as the BSC is to improve our international status as well as our international visibility in order to primarily attract international investors to the exchange. As such, we have a number of affiliations across the world in order to ensure that we align with international best practice. We benefit from their global reach, and also we benefit from the peer-to-peer learning platform that they provide. The BSC is within the SADC region, a member of the Committee of SADC Stock Exchanges, or COSE. On the African continent, we are a member of African Securities Exchanges Association, or ASEA, and also we are signatory to the Marrakech Pledge on fostering green capital markets in Africa. On a global scale, we are an affiliate of the World Federation of Stock Exchanges, or WFE, and we are also a partner exchange of the United Nations Sustainable Stock Exchanges Initiatives, or the SSE. Our subsidiary, which is called the Central Securities Depository of Botswana, CSDB, is a member of AMEDA. AMEDA stands for Africa Middle East Exchanges Association, and is also a member of the World Federation of CSDs, or WFC. There's a lot that we actually gain from these strategic relationships or international affiliations. as the BSC and also as the Botswana capital market. Primarily, we benefit through capacity building, where we participate in initiatives to enhance skills and transfer skills among the employees themselves and also among the market participants in general. For example, ASEA has an annual conference that we participate in, and there's a lot of build up to the conference that takes place in terms of research, compilation, surveys that we participate in. The World Federation of Stock Exchanges, since we joined it in 2016, has helped us in a great way to promote the reach and the visibility of our market, particularly through the market information or statistics that we publish on their websites and on their research papers every month, and also on an annual basis that reaches a wider base of investors globally. And to a large extent, our partnerships and affiliations help us in terms of benchmarking, learning from one another, whether as the exchange or as depositories or as market participants. For example, on the sustainability front, since we joined the Sustainable Stock Exchange Initiatives, we are currently undertaking a project to explore how local companies can improve or promote sustainability within their broader business or corporate mandate, because it has become an issue that international investors pay close attention to when deciding to allocate their money across investment opportunities around the world.